he has two grown-up sons, and he drove away their mother when they were teenagers, when they were much younger. This boy was a professional student. You know what they call professional students? Those
Repeating
who are those who are in school for 9, 10, 12 years.
forever, yeah.
Uh-huh. So eventually he comes to Lagos and comes to see me. I didn't even know that was their situation. And he doesn't know why his father does not want to help him. His father seemed to hate him in particular. Even his younger brother has been helped and is now in the UK. So I now called the father. I said, what's going on? What's this? The man said, "Hey, my brother, there's nothing hidden about this in anymore. That when madness goes to the market, there's nothing hidden anymore." He now opened up the whole thing. I doesn't know why the boy does not help himself. Rented a house for him in Lagos. After paying the rent, the boy comes and says he needs 900,000 to go to Jos. And the boy came to me saying that his father should give him 7 million naira to buy equipment for um, this media work. And the man says, where will he get 9 million naira? So the point I'm making is there's a background.
Mm-hmm.
Are you there?
Mm-hmm. I'm here.
There
I'm
is a
just
background.
checking technical stuff. Yeah.
There's a background. And the background is simply that their mother was driven out from the home. And then after several years, the mother died. So there's hardly anything the man can do to satiate the boy's feeling because fundamentally there is a womb that produced this boy. That's the other side of the coin. You're
Yes.
talking about where the man failed. We are talking about where the man is doing at least doing something and is not appreciated.
No, that's actually quite different from because
Uh-huh.
this one we can see that the the man has explained that he has tried for the boy, but the boy story to the world is that the man didn't try for him, right?
The man doesn't appreciate him.
Yes. So
And then you
no,
see that the boy's problem goes deeper.
yes,
The problem is that he himself does not feel loved. So
yes,
there's nothing you do that
yes,
equals being loved by him.
yes. But but what I would see there is, I think that that doesn't quite fit into the type of conversation that we want to have because we're
If you
talking
tell her,
about,
if you tell her your conversation, eh,
yes,
why don't you leave it open so that people can just speak where it concerns them? Because if you tailor it to address maybe a particular one, it's only
mm,
somebody with that particular situation that will be blessed.
yes. Okay. So speaking about that particular one that you talked about just now,
Mhm.
in that situation, it's like the father actually understood why the boy was having that type of attitude because he explained it. He said it's because of the loss of the mom, right? So he explained it.
It's not just the loss.
Hmm.
He had driven the woman away
Yes.
before the woman, after some years, now died.
With the boys,
No,
did
no,
you
no, no,
drive
no.
her away with the boy? Okay.
Well, he was paying their school fees even before she died. It's just that
Mm-hmm.
he went and married another woman.
Mm-hmm.
And the family of the woman, I spoke to some member of the family of the woman. In fact,
Yeah.
the woman's elder brother, I spoke to her and to him. He
Yes.
feels the man was too hard on their daughter
Yes.
and that he ended up driving her away and eventually she died. And that boy was telling me that he was going to go home to kill his father.
Okay. So I think we're still arriving at the same thing
Okay.
because, yes, we're still arriving at the same thing because the man seems to feel, he does not seem to feel that, he seems to be laying the blame on the boy's shoulder, saying that it's because the boy doesn't feel love. So no matter what he does. But he had a role in the boy not feeling love.
Of course, yes, yes, it does.
Now, he has a big role in that. So now it's actually a very good one that you brought up because what that has done is you've talked about him going to school and being a what did you call it again? Permanent student,
Professional students.
professional student. Yes. And what that has done is that it has made him not be able to move in the direction of life that someone of his class should have, right? So he didn't
Mm-hmm.
acquire the education that he should have. Therefore, his position in life is not what it should be. So when he talked
Yes.
about going home to kill his father, you can you can understand that because that affects everything else that happens in his life. Even getting married,
Yes.
even if he did get married, he always sees himself as not being in the status that he should be.
Yes.
And so he
Yes.
always sees as the life that he has with his wife or his family is
I-
not what it's
I-
supposed
I-
to be. So when they
In
have any
fact,
problem, yes.
in fact, in fact, he came out with a degree in electrical engineering
Yeah.
after about 12 years.
Mm.
According to his father, he now had to go to the university and managed, pushed, spent money with the lecturers for them to just push him until he comes out with at least a certificate. Now, you can see clearly that, yes, the failure of the marriage was very instrumental in his loss of confidence in life.
The failure of the marriage.
Yes, how his father lived with his mom, how he left the home, how their mother was driven away, how the mother
Yeah.
ended up dying. All of these things will affect a normal child.
So isn't that more of I don't even think it's the failure of the marriage. I think it is the relationship between the man and the woman because just the fact that a marriage failed doesn't mean it's the way that the parents now handle that or what caused the failure. So what led to it is the man's attitude towards this woman. Because you can separate from somebody, but maintain cordial relations, right? And that's you're taking into consideration the feeling of the children. So
Let me also tell you this again. I don't know. We are not on air, so we're not. Are you recording?
I am, but I'm going to be able to edit it, so it's fine.
Okay. Um, I want to say that when we discuss failure of a marriage,
Yes,
it's a whole lot of issues.
yes.
It is obvious that the relationship between the man and his wife wasn't particularly nice.
Mm,
It could be the man's fault, it could be the woman's fault,
mm-hmm,
it could be environmental factors. What do I mean by environmental factors? You guys who live in the Western world, you get enlightened to the extent that marriage fails and the two people have not lost their heads. It's
mm,
hardly so in Africa. Well, in
mm.
our in our environment, yes.
I don't. It's not that I want to correct that, but what I would say is, I think at the end of it, it always boils down to the two people. Really, notwithstanding the environment, because there are people here who are everything that you. It's like there are people here who are still being abused, physically being beaten, chased with knives and bottles, right here, and they're not going to report it or do anything. They are living in
Mhm.
fear. There are people here who are divorcing and are turning the whole place upside down. Even the divorce lawyers do not want to take their phone calls because everything is always toxic. Then there are people who are at home. Just 2 weeks ago, I spoke with somebody. going
Yeah.
through a, going through a, now the divorce is almost final. Do you know that they lived together at home, there in Nigeria? They lived together in the same house, under the same roof, with the children, while going through this divorce, having conversations about their lives and about the children. At first, it started with suspicion of each other. Am I sure I'm going to be safe and all that? So when one voiced their suspicion, the other one said, even I have been thinking, am I sure that I am safe? So I think with everything, what I've come to find is look at the individuals involved. It's also something like when people say people from divorce backgrounds, and I say no, people from divorce backgrounds are going to do this. No, look at the individuals involved and find out the
Mm,
circumstances of their own background and their
mm,
experiences in life. Then those
mm,
are the things that actually form the person. I think we've made a lot of mistakes because of the assumptions are right. It's good to have the assumptions, but then after having the assumptions, that is chapter one. Then we have to open chapter two and now look at the individuals involved. Because like for this boy, we'll go back to this boy. Somebody might just want to say it's because of the broken marriage. But if that man had made more effort in the way that he went about this thing.
Because we evolve as human beings and we learn every day. So we have a lot of ideas that have been put out in the world. And we've seen in the past, say for instance, before women were not going to work, women were staying home, and it was the husbands that were providing completely. Women were just dependent. Even if a woman was to go to school and get a job, she would do a job where she would close very early and come home. And then there was the period when during the war, it was because the men went to war, the women were at home, and now they didn't have enough sustenance for the family. And those are all the things that led to women getting into the workplace, right? So yes, so with life, we're constantly evolving. Now one of all the things that have been put into the world that we go by, all those things that are general blanket statements, now we begin to learn that from observation, we begin to see that we actually have to be careful with those blanket statements. Now we can see that it's better to, yes, the blanket statements, in a lot of cases, that should be the first thing that we should think about. And then we now slowly peel back the layers so that we can look closer. We can look closer at what is actually happening, because the blanket statements that we give may be very different from individual to individual. Because when people hear that, this couple that I was just talking about in Nigeria, if people heard that they were going through a divorce, people will be shocked. Why would you still be staying in the same house with her? Why would you still be staying in the same house with him? Aren't you this,